stock market today analysis for the trading day of Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Before we get into looking at a variety of stock market information, I want to draw your attention to this website, ihavesuccess.com, which you can find a link to it in the description below this video. I have a new page right here, cash secured put option consulting. Pretty soon it'll be under a products tab, but feel free to check that out. There's free stuff, there's paid stuff, and it's going to keep growing. Check that out. If you have interest in learning how to do a trade that doesn't really take a whole lot of time and allows you a lot of freedom and flexibility, it's like being the tortoise. It's kind of slow, but you're guaranteed to win your race. Let's get into looking at some of this financial stuff that's been happening today and looking at what might be going on for the rest of the week. Oh, and at the 2-minute mark, I will put actually not a 2-minute, at the 1 minute and 30-second mark, right? So that's coming up right here. There's going to be a link popping up right here of 5 reasons why you should sell cash secured put options. 1 minute and 30 seconds, here it is, it's coming. Boom, there it is, right? Just popped up. You don't have to watch it right now. It's easy to remember. 1.5, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Okay, let's look at that financial information. Today we had the FOMC meeting minutes be released. Overall, it would appear that the majority of the Fed is in agreement to favor a 25-point basis rate hike, which may or may not be a whole lot. We can get into the speculative macroeconomic debates. The type of reaction that the market had was it sold off a bit, and in comparison to the sell-off yesterday, not as much. But we see on our 4 main indices, price action is all at the very bottom of that big drop in the candle. Tomorrow, we've got this some announcement with gross domestic product, and then Friday, this could be a potential big market mover, the personal consumption expenditure that apparently the Federal Reserve watches supposedly closely to determine if what they're gonna do with rates and yada yada. You know, most of my trading and investing, selling cash secured put options on stocks I don't mind owning. I mean, this stuff affects it, but what affects it, I think, more is, is it a good, solid company? If I want it to be around for a long time. If I'm just kind of doing the wheel strategy, what might affect it more? Maybe stuff like this. But if you want to be able to trade and not have to worry as much about FOMC things and all those things, then selling cash secured put options on stocks you wouldn't mind owning and potentially doing the wheel strategy are pretty nice. So we see price actions in the very, very bottom. Let's take a quick look at the 12 sectors. And we'll scan through here really quickly, looking for anything bullish. All right, I don't see anything bullish. If anything, that looks more bearish to me. That definitely looks bearish to me. Bearish. That's definitely the opposite of bullish. Over here, I wouldn't say that's bullish. It's a little more neutral, kind of right in the middle of the candle. But I get it. It's green, but it's at the bottom of that big sell-off. Same thing, bottom of the sell-off. Definitely bearish. That's looking pretty bearish, even to the point where you see that high wick going up there, test all the way up deep into that previous day's candle, but sold off all the way down here. This one, at least the price action is in the top 50% of this wide range candle there, but linked next to this one, right? This indecision candle. Now we're deciding a little more. It looks like it's just kind of riding this 200-day moving average, and it would seem that if it breaks the 200-day moving average, maybe that would cause traders and investors to take a little more action. We will see. I don't see anything excitingly bullish there, and that definitely is not the look of something bullish. So maybe a little bit more, maybe we still got a bit of a slant to the bearish side. Let's break down things a little bit differently. What we'll do is, I did a little research from your handy dandy free Yahoo Finance, and I found out what the top 10 holdings were for the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000. Some of them there's going to be overlap, like Apple and Microsoft. They're in more than one, if my memory serves me. So we'll take a look through there, and let's do it with this one. So we're going to close this off. That's a hourly chart. We got a 1-year weekly chart here, and we got a 6-month daily chart here. We'll start by looking at Apple. Apple, you see right here, it gapped above this 200-day moving average, and now it's kind of back to battling that 200-day moving average. Tried to get over that 200-day moving average here, wasn't successful, but it seems to be at the moment getting some support, but that doesn't look super, it doesn't look bullish to me. When we look at the weekly, that looks a little bit bearish, so we'll see. I would guess that if Apple breaks this 200-day moving average, we could potentially see it back down here to about 145. Microsoft kind of have a similar look to Apple, right? Bit of a gap to get over the 200-day moving average, but sort of seeming like a breakout point failure. That's looking pretty bearish on that weekly chart. Well, let's keep in mind, though, that on the weekly chart, these most current candles are not complete, right? Friday close, it'll be complete, but right now it's kind of halfway through. But it's definitely looking bearish right there. Because look at this, we got this bear candle, and this one is basically engulfing it. The thing that would make it even more bearish if our prices were pushed all the way down to the bottom here, but they're not. For some reason, some buyers stepped up and drove this price up about $1.50 or whatever it was from where it was getting down there. Amazon had a similar look. Well, you can really see it on this weekly chart, right? You just see that it's just been kind of in this downward channel. Every time it would get up here to this 200-day, it just wasn't able to sustain above it. And unsurprisingly, this 95 area, right? You see how prices kind of start getting clustered in there. You see it comes up to 95, kind of. So unsurprisingly, we're seeing a little bit of support being picked up there, but doesn't look bullish. You can see how prices went up higher, but selling pressure pushed it down here. So again, we're not looking through all these to try to figure out exactly what these individual stocks are doing. We're looking at these and understanding that these have a high degree of weighting for which direction the index is going to go. Meta had this gap right here and has been selling off since then. I get it, there's some green candles in there, but from here to here, it's sloping down. So that's not looking very strong. And this is, oh boy, that's not looking good, is it? But one thing that's nice, if you want it to stay in the bull category, it's at least above the 50%. Like this big candle right here, right? Where's the halfway point? Well, it's still on the top. If you see it start dropping down here, in fact, that's a good way to measure the strength of a move in a certain direction, right? We see that one thing that we see, that prices are going the opposite direction of a bull, right? If it was bull, prices are going up. Okay, so prices are going down. So that doesn't mean that it's not a bull though, but at the moment it's like showing some weakness. And this candle right here. This candle right here, it's a longer body. See how these bodies kind of slowing down? So it looks like momentum is sort of slowing down. It might start stabilizing and heading back up, but look at that 200-day moving average. You know, the whole market seems to have some weight to the downside, so that would be a little bit against it. Now that looks pretty bearish right there, and overall it's looking pretty bearish. Look at that gapping down. It might I wouldn't be surprised if I could see it hitting down here in the 90s tomorrow, and not a prediction. You know, who knows? Some forces could rally in there, but definitely wouldn't be surprised. I would be more surprised if it rallied up to 97. I'd be less surprised if it you know, at least touched 90. It's only $1.65 away. Google, for some grandiose reason, Google gets to be in there twice. You can speculate why that would be. So we already looked at that. Berkshire Hathaway got a big drop. Momentum slowing a little bit, but it broke this. We had some support here at the 305. Now looks like in this range of about 300. We'll see if it holds something there, but nothing so far is looking. I mean, we really gotta. Excuse me. I really have to reach to look for some bullish indications. Here's one that you don't have to reach too far, but prices traded all the way down here, and buying pressure pushed it all the way up here. We're still closing in the bottom half of this candle, and here's something else. Speaking of those candles, we already talked about this. We had this big bullish move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days later, we're almost at, if you count the whole width of the trading range, 5 days later, we're back. Right, I get it. Prices rally back up here, but that's taking this whole picture into context. This one candle, that maybe that's showing some potential bullishness here, but we saw the same type of candle right here, and then it proceeded to drop down for a few days. So, wouldn't be surprised if we're testing this 190 tomorrow. And then we got Nvidia. Same thing, it's kind of dropping down, looking a little sluggish. What we do have though in Nvidia that's really standing out is this nice clean W here. Up to there. Right, so this is old news now. But when you see something like this forming, drop down, right? You got a pivot here, goes back up, drops down again, and the distance between here and here, like the distance between this pivot and this pivot, when it starts going back up, is very short compared to this. So what ends up happening is this left-hand side of the W is significantly lower. This right-hand side of the W is significantly higher, right? That means a low, higher low. And then prices start moving up, and then when it kind of gets around to this area right in here, then what happens? In this case, boom, maybe right here, and then watching to see what happens. Watching to see, I kind of lost track of. Let's do it. That'll be easier to read. Okay, so here's our the pivot point. The W pulls back. Here's the right side of the W. Price is going up. We're watching to see what happens around this this pivot, that part of the W. Right, it's getting close. Prices pull back. Boom. So we got this bull candle. 2 days later, price action is at the bottom of it, and then look at that on that third day, whoom, we see prices just rebound back. that could be a bit of an indication that, maybe we got a bull here. The following day, you see this big bull candle up. Now, if you live in Eastern Standard Time Zone and you're able to be in front of a computer while this is going on, you're watching it in real time. That would be wonderful. Your good buddy Brent, I'm living in the past when it comes to the stock market, and see it break this point. Then 2 days later, waiting to see what happens. Is it going to fall back down like this? But boom, we got a pretty strong candle to the upside. Look at that little bit of wick here. The next day, we got this. Probably around here. We know for sure. Maybe some other people, I don't know if it's we know for sure. I don't know if you can ever know for sure. You can think you know for sure, but we're dealing with a game of probabilities here. So at some point, you know, you're going long, and it seems like we're breaking down from that nice bull run up on Nvidia off that W. Now we had pivoted down to here, and then with this our last bull candle here, 1, 2, 3 trading days later, we're below that. Now to look at the strength of this, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into this, and we're not even. So looking pretty weak compared to this candle, but we're just kind of right in there. You know, maybe prices could base up. That JP Morgan Chase, like kind of chopping sideways, looking relatively, not looking bullish. Not so much to me, at least. Maybe over here on the weekly, it's kind of looking better. So, you know, I'm still of the mindset of sideways market at the moment. I mean, I was waiting to see what's going to happen around the 420 to 440 area, and right now what I saw happen is prices went the opposite direction. Right? If going to 420 through 440 would give us an indication of a bull market, if prices move the opposite way, at the minimum, we know that the bull is not strong enough to go up right now. But what could happen is that prices could start stabilizing around this 400, and it could kind of be like this, right? We could get a low, higher low, higher low, higher low. It could go up, but now we want to see what are prices going to do in this 400 area, right? Looking at those top heavy hitters for the S&P 500, kind of looks like looking pretty weak. So I wouldn't doubt it if we see a little more action to the downside. I don't know how much action though, because we got a lot of pivoting right in here, right in here, right in here, right in here, all in this area of about 395-ish, you know, whatever, all kind of in this area, 400, 395. I wouldn't be surprised if it caught some support, but if it catches some support right in here around the high 390s, then at least this kind of like looking like a little trend could continue up. So still of the mindset, right now we're still basically sideways. But one thing that's happening is that our ranges are kind of getting tighter. So, all right, we had this drop down, right, and it rallies. I don't know if you can see this. Let me just draw here, right? I'm gonna skip that look. Okay, here's a pretty big pivot here. It rallies up, comes down here, drops hard. Rallies up, doesn't make it from here. Pretty big pivot. I know there's a little bit of wiggle in there, but it goes all the way up here. And then on this one right here, this is really, seems like in this area right here, it started kind of, sort of like in here is the start of the sideways thing, because now what's been happening is here's where our prices currently are, right? Here's a pivot. Let's kind of look for some bigger pivots. Here's a pivot. There's a pivot. There's a pivot. There's a pivot, right? So it kind of looks like we're getting a bit of kind of like this compression. I get it. That's a really curvy line that I just drew. price is sort of compressing this way, and they seem to be compressing on the, seems like you got forces pushing things up and also pulling things down, where this one is really steep, right? This one, I don't know. I don't know if it's like, if it's starting to build a top. Kind of have to wait and see. But luckily for me, like what's been working pretty well is kind of looking at these ranges, right? What's going to happen around the 420 to 440, and how is it going to happen? Right now, what's happening is nothing, and how is it happening is it got close. Next thing, from the 400 to the 380, what's going to happen? Right now, it's getting tested. And how is it happening? We need a little more time. We definitely need a little more time. Because here's our drop. This is from last Friday. This is Tuesday. This is last Friday, and we're still kind of debating. It was kind of in the middle. Had been in the middle between 400 and 420. Basically kind of in the middle, right? It was wiggling like 412, 408. So Tuesday is testing this 400. And now where our momentum is slowing, or it doesn't mean it's over. It could just be resting, or kind of could go up. So we will, if you're paying attention, it's a we. If it's just me, if I'm the only one paying attention, I'm going to figure it out. So what I'm doing personally is I'm selling a lot of cash secured put options on stocks I don't mind owning until I know, as long as we're going sideways, because we've dropped down here and now we're kind of moving sideways. I'm selling cash secured put options on stocks I don't mind owning, and I'm selling them at strike prices that I'm happy to buy the stock at, and that I don't particularly mind owning for the rest of my life. Right down in this area, for myself, I'm finding some deals. Now, if the stock market starts going up, I'm going to do a little bit of pivoting from that strategy. I'll still sell cash secured put options, but instead of doing more stocks that I want to own for the long term, the higher prices go, the more I'll start doing stocks that I'm more comfortable with just doing the wheel strategy with. And if prices drop down, then I'll just keep acquiring more stocks that I want to own for the long term. You guys have a fantastic time. Aloha.